Welcome to Blood, Guts, and Booze.
I'm Olivia.
And I'm Kendra, and this is a comedy podcast here to frighten you and make you question the world that we live in. So sit back with your favorite snacks and let's dive into this. Listener discretion is advised, as these podcasts are not for the faint of heart, nor are they PG. Hey guys, so this week we have a very special guest with us. The one, the only, Tanya Steery. You guys have heard us mention her a few times on the podcast before, and she was our lucky contest winner. And no, I didn't rig the contest. Olivia and I are so excited to have you on the podcast today. Welcome, Tanya.
Thanks. I'm happy to be here.
All right. So Tanya got the choice to pick one or both cases, and she actually picked both. And now, because the contest winner gets what she wants, you guys also actually get a bonus Canadian case from me.
Yay! Yay.
But Olivia will be going first today. We're switching it up.
Switching things up a little bit today. All right. Tanya picked the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum, and it has a pretty dark and gruesome past.
Trans-Allegheny.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I know. I listened to so many different things, and I knew I still wasn't going to pronounce it right.
Well, we call it in the ghost hunting, we call it Tala for short.
Tala. I like that. I did see that somewhere in my research, but I did not put that down.
That's why we have you, Tanya.
All right.
Just happy to be
Yeah.
happy to be included, guys.
Well, we're excited that you're here.
Very much.
Woohoo! So construction started in 1858, and it actually didn't finish until 1881. It resides on 668 acres with 13 buildings. It is located in West Virginia. Virginia. Tongue-tied. The Kirkbride plan, he brought in European masons over to do some stonework.
So I'm just going to cut in real quick.
Yeah.
The lore is that it's actually on 666 acres. They call it 668 because 666 is bad luck.
Yeah, I was going to say, I said 666, but.
Wow. See,
yeah.
This is why we got you, and why you picked this case, probably because you know lots about it.
Have you been there? Is this a place that you've been? I know you've been to a few.
I know a few
places.
things. I have. Yeah, of course. Of course it is.
Yeah. So it looks like a castle. And it is the largest stone building in North America, and it is said to be the second largest in the world. The Kremlin is the largest.
I actually looked up this one for once, and it was pretty.
It's really pretty. I was actually looking up how much it costs to go there for a night.
There's pictures of it on my Facebook as well.
I'll have to check it out.
You can get in on the ghost hunts for a reasonable price.
Yeah, it really wasn't too pricey at all.
Plus, if we just say we know Tanya, maybe they'll give us a discount.
That will give you no street cred whatsoever.
So it was originally supposed to hold 250 patients. It ended up actually holding a lot more than that.
Like most of these bastard places do.
Yep. I'll get into how many later. But they ended up having huge, large windows added in for sunlight and some good old fresh air for some patients.
Nice vitamin D.
Yep.
Getting those patients the D. I can tell the delay by when you're laughing.
It's just like only a second though.
I told you there's about 6-8 seconds.
Well, we'll try to leave more pauses so that you can add more commentary. But Seriously, feel free to cut us off as much as you want during both of our cases. We don't care.
So the grounds were self-efficient. They had dairy produce and meat farmed on the property. There were beautiful gardens built all over the place.
Ooh.
And the building was built in the shape of a bat to hold a lot of room with nice views.
A bat, really?
Like a V. Like when a bat's like
flying.
Yeah, flying.
When a bat's like ee.
Yeah, when they squeak.
You're just laughing at us being idiots. Tanya, you already knew I was an idiot.
Oh, it's totally fine. Wow, you're a good time. You're
Excellent.
You share brain cells. It's a good time.
The Civil War started in April of 1861. At this time, only the southern wing of the building and a basement was completed. In June of 1861, it was demanded all non-war work be put on hold so everyone could go and fight. There was a group of soldiers that came into town around June as well. The men used what was built of the asylum for, their slumber party. They took and used a bunch of stuff that was there that was meant for the first patients to arrive in the building. And once the war ended, the asylum continued construction and opened up for people to go.
All them crazy war people.
Yeah. In 1863, the asylum changed its name to West Virginia Hospital for the Insane and opened in 1864 for patients. Its first patient who arrived was a housewife who had troubles. And by troubles, she was probably a mouthy ass motherfucker who didn't put up with her husband's shit, and he was probably sent her away for it.
What do you mean she doesn't want
When
to
I
clean?
went to the asylum, they actually provided you with a printout to show you all of the things that you could be committed for. And if you had your period, you could get committed. If you talked back, it was if you fell off a horse. It was like, I think I still have it somewhere, but just this list of absolutely ludicrous reasons why people were being committed.
It's funny that you say that because I actually have some of the stuff from the list that I found on the internet right here. So having ill treatment by your husband gets you put in there. Like you said, kicked in the head by a horse. You could have hysteria, imprisonment, laziness, masturbation of 30 years, menstrual derangement, novel reading. So we already know Kendra's going in there.
I fucking love me some goddamn books. Lock me up.
If your parents were cousins, tobacco and masturbation.
Wait. Wasn't like everyone's parents cousins back then?
Which is why there were so many people in here.
Oh, okay.
Jealousy and religion, fever and loss of a lawsuit, fits and desertion of your husband, asthma, so we know I'm going in.
Me too. Fuck it.
Bad whiskey.
What?
Yeah, if you make bad whiskey.
Oh, you dirty whore.
Yeah.
Like my whiskey wasn't strong enough. Off you go.
Right? Brain fevers, death of a son in the war, deranged masturbation, excessive sexual abuse, women troubles.
So that's like when you wear a chicken suit.
Being superstitious, shooting of daughter, smallpox, the female disease, which what the actual flying fuck is that? Like the female
You have a
disease.
vagina. You're crazy.
Rumor of husband's murder, or husband murder, self-abuse, sexual abuse, and of course, any mental illness that was yet to be diagnosed and named at the time. And there's a lot more on the list than that.
It sounds like there was a lot to do with masturbating.
I picked out some of the funniest ones, and a lot of them were masturbation.
Just from that whole list, I feel like all three of us would have been put in this place. We all have the woman disease, I think.
The woman disease.
Oh, for sure. Times 10.
Times 10. Locked away for life, all three of us. At least we can go crazy together.
Maybe we'll get locked in here.
Good time, though.
Good time. In 1862, the hospital opened up for mental health. My bad. Hold on one second. In 1881, oh my God, I am so sorry.
Hold on, Olivia's drunk.
No, in 1862, the hospital opened up for mental health. I think I said 82 at first. I don't have my glasses on. In 1881, a large number of mental ill people flooded the asylum. No, man, you're blind. If I put your glasses on, I'll throw up. At this point, it now had the capacity of over 500 patients. This was starting to overwhelm the staff, as the building could only house 250. The hospital then started really struggling hard. Staff just could not keep up at all. The grounds were also unable to produce the amount of food that they needed for the amount of people on the property.
Naturally.
At this point, patients started experience neglect and malnourish. Some patients even had barbaric ways of healing in the asylum from the staff. And the staff, some of the staff experienced rape and abuse from patients as well.
Usually it's like the other way around, where like the patients are like more so being abused and raped than the staff.
Yeah. Well, we'll get into why. So bloodletting was also very popular, along with insulin comas, for trying to help patients. Some patients were actually locked in cages.
Well, an unconscious patient is a lot easier to deal with.
Yeah. Especially when they're out, it's just like, here, yeet them off onto the floor so someone else can go on the bed. Some of the patients were locked in cages due to being uncontrollable. Mm-hmm. In 1913, the name changed again to Weston State Hospital. And there were numerous fires throughout like its time, but one of the most famous ones happened in 1935, and it broke out on the 4th floor. Everyone actually made it out. Not a single person was killed.
Boo.
So, yeah, boo. Around 1938, the asylum housed over 6 times the amount of patients it could handle.
Yikes.
The ground started having trouble with cleanliness as well.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like windows were caked with gunk, walls were peeling. Ugh. In the 1950s, it reached over 2,600 patients inside of its walls.
And what was the capacity?
250.
Wow.
For a place that was meant to house 200.
Yeah, like
that's fucking insane.
I mean, this place is massive. I think I heard it had like 6 acres of just building. But I guess you only have so many rooms, so many beds. But that's like a lot more people than they were probably expecting. But that's how it was with a lot of asylums at that time, right?
It seems like every time you tell me about one of these places, they were severely overcrowded.
Yeah.
Which is sad in a way.
It is.
If you saw the Asylum season of American Horror Story, that's pretty much where they were at.
Oh my God. They never continued why aliens appeared in that. Like in no other season is there aliens except for in that one season and one episode.
I've never watched it.
I have almost all of them over there. You're more than welcome to borrow them. They're great.
We want to watch them, but we can't around the tiny human.
True.
Although weirdly enough, great parenting. We're currently watching Criminal Minds all the way through, and she's just like, "Yep, I'm gonna watch it with you." Like,
my friend lets her daughter watch Futurama, and she's 3. So
Alice loves
Cordelia watched the first Child's Play, and she went, "That's not even scary."
I love it. I love it.
Yep. Yeah. No, kiddo. She loves Futurama. She loves Leela.
Yeah.
And Bender. Oh my God, she was so into Bender.
So patients ended up sleeping in the cold on floors due to lack of beds and heating in the place. Yep. And staff were just being overworked. They were burning out. And this doctor named Walter Freeman
Is he related to Morgan?
Oh, I don't know. But this guy's not a good guy. I hope not.
No.
So
Olivia, see, Tanya knows.
yeah, he performed lobotomies.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He had done over 4,000 in his time of being a doctor.
Holy fuck.
Mm-hmm.
Gross.
And his work resulted in a lot of deaths.
Are lobotomies still a thing?
I don't know.
Yeah, at that time.
At the time they were.
That was
I don't
the
think about
primary method of controlling a patient.
Well, I mean, like nowadays, is it still a thing?
Probably illegal now.
No,
No? Okay.
pretty much barbaric.
I was gonna say it's very barbaric.
They call it.
It's Kendra just like shit herself.
I'm very gassy. I'm sorry.
So what they do is they basically insert a thin rod into people's eye sockets and use a hammer to whack her down into your brain's frontal cortex.
Oh, gross.
And it's like from this right here on your eye, Kendra, like right there.
My eyes hurt now.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure there's a picture in there of a lobotomy.
The tear ducty area.
Nope.
Yep.
Nope.
By the time the doors were shut in 1994, the only thing that really had been continued on the property was the multiple, like huge graveyards that are on the property of patients that have passed. A lot of them have unmarked graves.
Oh,
Yeah.
so sad.
And in 2007, it was bought and used for tours. And that's when a lot of people started doing ghost investigations in there. Now I'm going to get into a little bit of the more gruesome stuff and hauntings.
So probably Tanya's favorite part.
Yeah. She'll be able to tell me if I've missed something.
Oh, I'm sure she will.
There's said to be the ghost of a little girl who was born in the asylum and lived around to be, I believe, 8 or 9 years old and had passed. There are also other stories that she was just an existent patient to begin with. And she currently haunts the 4th floor.
Her name is Lily.
Yeah, I was going to say she haunts the 4th floor and they have a room that's Lily's room.
Huh. Did you meet Lily when you went?
I didn't. My trip was mostly uneventful, and I'm not sure why. Sometimes when I go on these investigations, I'm just not getting anything. the best tool that you could use when you go on a paranormal investigation is really just your own senses. And like when I've been to Ohio and Pennsylvania and Kentucky, there's usually like I'm picking up something. When I went to Tala, I didn't get a whole lot, but there could have been a lot of contributing factors. There is quite a large room that's full of toys that you can try and engage with her. But we didn't get anything when we were there. Well, at least the group that I was with didn't. So a lot of sections of the hospital have been renovated to and kind of staged to show you what it would have been like as it should have been. And then there's other sections that are just absolutely so run down. It's a massive building. They've got all kinds of stuff stored there, trigger items and stuff like that. So it is a place that I would like to go back to. And my friend Shannon, who I go on quite a number of hunts with, she would like to go as well. So
I
we'll
want
just have to work it out when everything opens up again and we have some time and see how it goes. We've got Ohio and West Virginia and also Tennessee to Brushy Mountain, all on our list.
Oh, interesting. Oh, that's exciting. I want to go there so bad. Nick even said he would go spend a night here.
Yeah,
and I'm
I know
like,
all the
yes.
places.
That's why I as soon as we started kind of doing this and I started sort of talking about you, I was like, Olivia, you're gonna love Tanya. You guys need to be best friends. I should hook you guys up. I knew that Olivia would just fall in love with you.
Come over for some drinks. Tell you all of my scary stories.
Yes, you would love my mom too.
I don't drink,
well,
but I'll come.
I am a delight.
Yes, you
are. There's also said to be a grayish figure that haunts the kitchen. And a lot of workers and guests feel that they're being watched in there. There was a patient in a room and they were bunked with two other men. And they got very annoyed with this other patient. He had the mentality of a child.
What?
So they used a bed sheet and they hung him and they would pull him up until he'd pass out and they'd let him go. And they'd keep doing that and they would like beat him. And eventually they got so fed up that they put his head underneath of the bottom of the bedpost and they took turns jumping on the bed until it went right through his skull.
I'm mad now.
Yeah, that one's probably like.
Well, you have to keep in mind you're not dealing with people who are mentally sound.
Yeah.
Fair. That's fair.
And that's probably the most gruesome, I think, incident in the whole place. They actually have a room called the murder room that you can go in where this happened.
Excuse me. I burped. I apologize.
There was also a nurse.
When you go on any kind of tours or investigations, there's usually nothing's really off limits. So you can go to where like ghost hunters has been, or rooms where people have committed suicide or been murdered or anything like that. You're paying to be there to find out the history, to see the building, and it's pretty much do what you want, but be respectful.
Yeah, and a lot of places too, they love seeing the results you get after a night in there too, especially if you get some really good evidence. Yeah.
Yep.
There was a nurse who disappeared in there. The police searched and they couldn't find anything, couldn't find her anywhere on the grounds. But I don't think it was done very properly because they found her body in an unused stairwell 2 months later.
Weird.
She was murdered by patients and left there.
Shitty.
Yeah.
Sucks to suck.
Yeah. A lot of people have seen spirits of, like we said, Lily, the little girl, women or nurses, just patients in general, roaming around, shadow people. And there's been multiple claims of a crawler spirit. And a crawler spirit is, or I guess a crawler is a spirit that hangs out around locations that have very dark pasts. Yeah.
Okay.
They believe that they're attracted to the negative energies in those places. Not sure why, but they're kind of creepy. Multiple groups of investigators have gone in there to do extensive investigations. The Bucket List is a channel on YouTube, and they had some doors open and close on them. And you actually can hear a phantom old school alarm going off, like the ones that are like the one from Silent Hill.
Whoa, like Siren Head?
Yeah, like the woo. Yeah, you can hear that. They actually thought somebody broke in, but there's no alarms.
That impression is uncanny, by the way.
I try. I need to get a soundboard, but my friend said she likes the sound effects I make.
My daughter is weirdly obsessed with Siren Head, and I find it so weird because he's like a creepy horror thing, and she just like she'll watch videos of like him and his sound on repeat. And
Your
like,
child has a Chucky doll.
I know.
Like
Chucky likes to have his makeup and hair done. Okay.
Oh, he's so pretty.
He's the prettiest.
They also got told by a guide that you will see red eyes and hear growling, which is very common around the asylum. And he also said sometimes mimicking has happened, which is, yeah. So I'm going to do a small, quick little breakdown of Paranormal Lockdown, where they, Nick and Katrina spend 72 hours inside of the asylum.
Nice.
It was Nick's second time there. He went in 2009 with Ghost Adventures.
Your favorite.
And it was Katrina's first time in the building. Within minutes of their tour, they were catching multiple EVPs. They ended up heading over to Ward F, which is the most where they kept the most dangerous patients. And after the tour that they had in the building with Rebecca, who is the current owner for over a decade, I don't know if she still is. She was at the time. This is from a few years ago, this show, 2016, I think. They continue their investigation. Like I said, in 2009, Nick was there, and during his last visit, he saw a shadow figure that he was very determined to see again. So they ended up splitting up, and Nick is now on the 4th floor. He is doing some EVP sessions while deciding on the perfect spot to sleep for the night. And Katrina is in Ward F's murder room on the 3rd floor. So that's where that patient got the bedpost through his head. Yep. Nick is now laying on his cot in the dark, hoping he catches anything on his night vision camera. And suddenly a loud bang happens beside him, and he pretty much like shits his pants. He goes to bed, and in the morning he wakes up and he hears somebody walking with soft shoes on, or as he said, similar to a nurse walk, like nurse shoes.
Okay.
He then heads down to go see Katrina. He asks her if she was walking around, but she was just in the room sleeping. They then start their day with more EVP sessions. They caught multiple EVPs, one saying something bitch. Katrina then suddenly had a pressure on her chest and some anxiety in the murder room. So they then decide to head to the women's auxiliary building, where they had caught more voices. They brought the Geo box with them, and Katrina starts asking if anyone wants to talk to her. A man's voice comes through and says, "Don't say anything." At this point, Nick and Katrina basically think there's some sort of entity that's trying to stop any other spirits from communicating. So Katrina then says, "If you say my name, I will leave and stop asking questions." And the box says Katrina. Nick basically gets really extra and he's like, "It said your name. It said your name." Like he's like freaking out. They then head to the medical building, keeping their promise to the spirits in the other ward. They stumble across a coffin, which Nick had laid in and on a table near it in 2009. Katrina then starts getting a pressure on her chest and again, and anxiety, and a pinch and pain in her head. Now remember, I just said they were in the medical building. That's where lobotomies were being performed. And she had a pinch and pain in her head. Nick then asks if she was feeling the pain of someone who had passed from a lobotomy. She kind of was a little emotional about it, but then they decide to split up again, and Katrina heads to the morgue and sets up like a little spot to lay down in inside of one of the body coolers that you slide the bodies in and out.
Like in a morgue. Okay,
Yep.
got it.
In the morgue. And Nick just hangs out in the lobotomy room. Katrina thinks she's hearing footsteps from in while she's inside of the cooler. And she asks if somebody can knock on the outside to show themselves. And you actually hear like a ting, ting, ting coming from inside of the cooler.
Nope.
Where she is.
Nope.
Nick was hearing footsteps in the lobotomy room. And before they decide to go to bed for night, they invite two guest investigators, Adam and Amy, to come and help. They also have seen shadow figures in the asylum on previous investigations. I believe they're from ghost hunters. The four of them split up and they make Adam lay in a cot in the hallway on the 4th floor where Nick was the night before. And Adam caught on EVP something saying, "Hello, Adam." He is legit shitting his pants and he like books it out of the room. And Amy's laughing. And they then decide to head out and leave the other two for their investigation. Nick starts getting some unusual anxiety and uneasiness. And Katrina thinks the spirits are playing tricks on them because they're hearing a lot of random noises and they're seeing things. And the cameraman, Rob, starts freaking out and panicking. He's telling them to shush because he sees something. And behind Nick and Katrina, there's this whitish blob. And it actually starts slithering or sliding across the floor behind them. They go back on the audio and you can actually see like this blob just like slide across the floor. It looks like a body being dragged almost.
Nope.
Rob, the cameraman, said it looked similar to the way that a snake moves. And at that point, they decided to close the investigation because it was pretty much 72 hours later. And like I said, a lot more people have claimed to see the crawler before and after that. So
interesting.
Yep. And that's my case.
Tanya, do you have anything to add about this?
If you ever get to tour the asylum, they have some stuff posted, like kind of around the building that gives you information on mental disorders and how they were treated at the time. There's actually a few case entries, so actual patients, who they were, what they were in for, how long they were there for, if they had family, and if they're buried on the property. The third cemetery, because there's a number of cemeteries on the property, it was used from 1938 to 1972, and the burial grounds, like the other two on the property, have very few grave markers. There's over 800 patients in that particular cemetery with only 3 tombstones.
Wow.
So yeah, if you get to go, there's some very cool stuff to see. A lot to learn, and it's really a pretty spectacularly impressive building.
Yeah, I would love to go. It looks, I know it has a really dark past, but the outside of the building itself looks so magical and pretty. Like it is gorgeous. The structure is amazing. And the fact that it's all stone, like,
Yeah, you have to appreciate the architecture.
Absolutely.
All right, before we start mine, I'm just gonna get Olivia to move this mic over because I can't.
I thought that's what you meant.
Yeah, I can't read. I can see your
sorry,
beautiful
my
face.
arm's
but
really sore. I got my
I'm
vaccine
not able
yesterday, and
to read
my arm
case.
is like dead. Here, I'll turn it a little bit. Can you see that?
Oh yeah, that's much better. Thank you. I'll wait to move over to you. Okay, do you need to pee or anything before we start mine?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Okay, guys, so we are going to now switch, like we always do, over to me. And today, Tanya picked for me to be covering Robert Pickton.
Woo! I'm swinging the poo.
I was super excited because I got to use my big serial killer books again for this one. And we all know how much I love my books. And also for anyone wondering, the books are by Jack Rosewood and they are available on Amazon because I know I talk about them a lot. And I also know that Tanya, you have one of these.
I do. I bought it at Christmas because my sister-in-law had mentioned that she had got one, I think, for somebody. And I was like, oh, that sounds like something that I'm gonna need. So yeah, I do have one. When I read the true crime books, I do like the stories to be fairly short and to the point. I've tried to read, like, not in case anybody likes her or whatever, but I've tried to read Anne Rule, and it's just too much. It's too much information. I don't need to know about the day that the officer was born that found the bodies, kind of stuff. Like, that's a little too much. So another one, he's deceased now, but a writer from Toronto named Max Haynes is actually how I got hooked on true crime books. So yeah, the ones that you and I both have, those are definitely up my alley. Couple pages. This is what they did. This is how they did it. This is how they got caught. And this is where they are now. So
yeah, no, I definitely like those too. And I like the ones that go into a little detail. Like I have the Helter Skelter book and it's like basically every possible detail that you could think of. But I think that it's more so depending on the topic on which book you can really get into. Like my Elizabeth Smart book, I read that and I mean, I'm super into that case. So I was like super into the book that was like really detailed.
yeah, understandable.
All right, so let's dive in. Other names that Robert Pickton is known for include the pig farmer killer, the pig head killer, pork chop Rob, and Willie.
Pork chops and applesauce.
So by saying that, most of you probably already know who it is, but I'm still going to tell you all the nitty-gritty details. Robert William Pickton was born October 24th, 1949 to Leonard and Louise Pickton. Sorry, I'm telling you his birthday, Tanya. They were a family of pig farmers in Port Coquitlam. I can never pronounce it correctly, British Columbia. If you recognize...
Coquitlam.
Thank you. If you recognize me saying this place, then it's also where Amanda Todd was from.
Oh, quick theory. Do you think there is one of those vortex triangles of like energy on that city that causes like negative things to happen?
See, I'm going to say no because Terry Fox is also from there.
Oh, he lost a leg and he passed away. I mean, he's a good guy. He did a lot.
He was a legend.
I know. I'm not saying he wasn't. I just mean like negative thing. Cancer's not a good thing.
Look into it.
I will.
All right.
I will see if there's a vortex.
New theory. All right. So he had an older sister, Linda, and a younger brother, David. The boys began working on the pig farm from an early age. Their mother prioritized the pigs over the boys, though, and often neglected Robert and David's hygiene, sending them to school unwashed, smelly, and in very dirty clothes.
Ew, you stink.
Yeah, they were, gross. He was actually bullied a lot because he went to school like stinky and smelly and
That's so
dirty.
sad.
Yeah. So Robert was actually very attached to his mother, and when at home, the boys often hid from their abusive father. He struggled in school and was placed in special ed classes. He dropped out at the age of 14 to become a butcher's apprentice until 1970, when he returned to work at the family farm. His parents died 8 years later, leaving the farm to the 3 siblings. Linda and David did not want to run the farm. David did take over the house, though, while Robert took over the farm. He lived in a trailer on the property, and the farm slowly became more and more neglected over the years. By 1992, there weren't actually many pigs left on the farm. There was, however, a very large boar who roamed the property, chasing people and attempting to bite them.
Oh, no.
Now, with no piggies, the brothers came up with a plan to make money off of the farm again. And in 1996, they made a nonprofit charity called Piggy Palace Good Times Society and registered it actually with the Canadian government. The purpose of the charity was meant to be organizing and operating special events, functions, shows, and dances on behalf of service organizations, sports organizations, and other like worthy groups. However, these events were actually more like basically giant fucking raves or parties. There was plenty of sex workers present and they were held in a converted slaughterhouse. Around 2,000 people would attend these parties, including the Hells Angels.
Ooh.
In March 1997, Robert was charged for allegedly handcuffing a prostitute named Wendy Lynn Eistetter. Wendy claimed that Robert cut her several times with a knife, and she escaped by stabbing him back. By January 1998, he was acquitted, though, of all charges, as police didn't believe that she was stable enough for trial because she was a drug addict. And even though staff at the hospital had actually used a key found in Robert's pocket to unlock her handcuff.
Oh my God.
He didn't do it, though.
It wasn't me.
The police collected Robert's clothes and rubber boots, and they stayed in evidence until 2004, just untouched. So by 1999, the Canadian government was, kind of getting pissed. They shut down the Picton's nonprofit status and the slaughterhouse that they were partying in, because it was clearly not used for what the Canadian government had approved it for. And then over the next 3 years, women who visited the farm just randomly began to vanish into thin air. Exact details of each murder and body disposal is not completely known yet. What is known, though, is that Robert would lure prostitutes back to his farm, where he would handcuff them before raping them and strangling them.
Oh.
There are several theories on what exactly Robert did with the women's bodies. One theory is that he, of course, what most people know is that he fed the bodies to his pigs. Another theory is that he ground up the human flesh with mincemeat and made sausages for his friends and family.
Yep.
And
Nope.
the last theory is that he actually ground up the human flesh with pork and sold it to the public. It was believed enough that the province's government actually issued a fucking warning.
Oh, sweet Lord.
Yeah. So then on February 6th, 2002, jumping way ahead
I didn't
here.
know it was that recent. No.
So 2002, a search warrant was issued to search the farm for illegal firearms, actually. The brothers were arrested and taken into custody. Police requested another warrant so that they could search for evidence into the missing women's cases. Because, I mean, you're already there searching for shit. Why not search for the rest? It was granted, of course. And during the search, they found a few items belonging to the missing women. The next day, Robert was charged with multiple firearms charges and released, as the police didn't have enough evidence to hold him in the missing women cases.
Oh, no.
Don't worry. Don't worry, on February 22nd, they had gathered enough evidence and Robert was arrested. He was charged with first-degree murder for the deaths of Mona Wilson and Serena Abbotsway. Between February 22nd, 2002 and May 26, 2005, Robert was charged with the deaths of 27 different women.
Holy fuck. I did not think it was that much.
Yeah.
He actually admitted to 49 murders, and he was disappointed that he didn't make it to 50. He confessed that to his cellmate after he was arrested.
Fucking goals, man, I guess. Like, what the fuck?
There's a fact that I didn't know, so thank you. From what I found, about From what I found, about 6 of the women's names vary depending on whether or not he was charged for their deaths. So I am not including the full list of their names like I usually do with victims, because there's too many variations or possibilities on who and what. When collecting evidence for Robert's conviction, Robert's clothes and boots were finally pulled out of evidence, and they found 2 of the missing women's DNA on them from 1997.
Oh. Oh no.
Yeah. So, rewinding back a bit, in 1998, police had actually received a tipped phone call stating that Robert should be looked into for the missing women. And in 1999, police also got another tip that Robert was keeping human flesh in his freezer. Police actually went to the farm, talked to Robert, and obtained a warrant to search the property, but they never did a search. Robert's trial began on January 30th, 2006. He pled not guilty to 27 charges of first-degree murder. There was a publication ban, so the public actually had no idea what was going on.
Oh, wow.
Then on August 9th, the charges were split into a group of 6 and a group of 20. They grouped the 6 victims with the most evidence together, trying to not get a mistrial and could hopefully actually get a conviction. So they put their 6 strongest together and left the other 20, and he's just wasn't charged for those at that point. Then on January 22nd, 2007, Robert began his jury trial and the publication ban was lifted. And for the first time, Canadians finally heard about what a monster this pig farmer was. Outside his slaughterhouse, they found teeth and a jawbone. There were skulls cut in half with hands and feet stuffed inside them. The remains of one victim found stuffed in a garbage bag, and her blood-stained clothes found in Robert's trailer.
Not looking good for him.
Also in his trailer, they found boxes of ammo, night vision goggles, 2 pairs of faux fur handcuffs,
Hanky.
a syringe with blue liquid inside, Spanish fly aphrodisiac, and the weirdest, a .22 revolver with a dildo attached to it. He had apparently used it as a makeshift silencer. There's the laugh. I paused there so that I could see your reaction to that one. So then
this delay is killing me, you guys.
I'm trying to pause as much as I can so that you can make any comments.
I appreciate it.
So then on December 9th, 2007, Robert Pickton was found not guilty of all 6 first-degree murders. Instead, though, he was found guilty of all 6 second-degree murders. Had you on your had Olivia pissed off for like half a second there.
I'm more shook. I'm still shook with the 49. Didn't reach 50. Like
that's a common thing with a lot of serial killers, though, is that they want to be the biggest that's ever been. Like if they could possibly have the most amount, then they would. They have a goal.
Those extra motherfuckers.
It's a thing. They gotta be the best. Olivia says they all have small penises.
I see you, Olivia.
I'm like,
Yeah.
So back to it. On December 11th, Robert Pickton was sentenced to life in prison with no possibility for parole for 25 years, which was the maximum punishment that they could give him. He did try to appeal, but was rejected by the Supreme Court of Canada. He is allegedly in Port Cartier. I probably pronounced that wrong. In Quebec. Paul Bernardo and Luca Magnotta are also there.
Those motherfuckers.
So Robert maintains that his evidence and even... Okay, hold on. Robert maintains his evidence. That doesn't make sense. I typed that out wrong. Robert maintains his innocence, and he even went to court when police were going to throw away some of the old evidence because he believed that it could be used to find the real killer. His brother David was never accused or charged in connection with his brother's crimes. There is a movie called Unclaimed or On the Farm about the crimes, and a Criminal Minds episode is roughly based on the case.
I've seen the Criminal Minds episode.
No. Most people, when I mention it, are like, oh, like that Criminal Minds episode. Yes, but...
Do you guys know how long it takes for a pig to eat a human?
I do not. Please tell me.
You need 16 pigs to finish the job in one sitting. They'll go through a body that weighs 200 pounds in about 8 minutes. So that means that a single pig can consume 2 pounds of uncooked flesh every minute.
Wow. I want to say that there's also a certain part that they won't eat. Is it the teeth?
I'm not sure about that one.
I've always wanted a pet pig.
Well, I mean, as long as you don't have 16, you should be fine.
Well, what if I want 17?
Don't fall in.
Okay, so now I got my trivia, my fun facts. So before Robert was born, his older sister was sent to live with relatives in Vancouver because her parents believed that a pig farm was no place to raise a lady. The excavations on the farm cost around 70 million, like
Holy
70.
shit.
By 2015, the property was fenced off and only a small barn still stood there. The other 20 charges were quote unquote stayed, so he will actually never go to trial for them.
Oh no.
In 2016, Robert wrote a book called Pickton in his own words. Amazon has taken it down and it's basically next to impossible to find a copy. I tried.
Let's go to Toronto into little bookstores. I'm sure there's one there.
David Pickton, his brother, was fined $1,000 and given 1 year probation for a sexual assault that happened in 1991. In 2013, he was also accused of threatening to chop her up.
Mm.
And then my last trivia, weirdly enough, was Robert is accused of murdering up to 49 women, but Tanya already taught y'all that. So
Sorry, man. Jumped in too fast.
that's okay.
My
we're
bad.
excited to have you. We were hoping that you were gonna add a bunch of stuff. Is there anything else to this case that you'd like to add?
No, you hit the criminal minds thing, which when that came out, I was like, oh my gosh, I know that one. I've definitely heard about that. Like the story was a little bit different where it was like a guy and his brother, but and Robert Pickton's brother wasn't ever formerly involved or tied to any of it. So yeah, it's just I found that to be very, very interesting. And I don't know why that was the first one that came to my head when you're like, do you want to pick the true crime one? I was like, yeah, Robert Pickton. So I don't even know what triggered that, but yeah. And then for when you guys asked about the paranormal one, Trans-Allegheny is one that I've been to that you guys haven't talked about yet, because you did the Ohio State Reformatory at my recommendation, and I have so many stories about that place. And then Waverly Hills I've been to as well. Where I've been to like a lot of places, guys. So yeah, sometimes it's hard to keep straight the events of each place that I've been to. There was what is it called? Hillview Manor is a good one with a pretty sad history. And that's just in Pennsylvania.
Well, that's not too far.
And then one that I've been to that I probably won't go to again is Rolling Hills Asylum. Yeah, it's not too far. Rolling Hills Asylum in New York is one that I won't go to again, just because I don't agree with the way it's being run. So I find that, and this is just my opinion and experience, I'm sure other people feel differently, but the woman who was running it when I went, I found her to not really be respectful of the history and the spirits that were there. She was more like the kind of the rules are you have to respect the place and the history and the spirits that still reside there, and they leave out trigger items and tell you to play with them to get like the spirits kind of riled up, and I don't agree with that. So
That's fair.
Yeah, that's one place that I won't go again. But yeah, but Hillview Manor is great. It's very small, so if you were to go there, I'd go with a very small group of people, because you pick up everybody else's chatter and stuffs when you're trying to hear your own. And then Ohio, Tala, I would go to again. Yeah.
Well, we would love it if you could send us one of your experiences that we could use for a listener story.
Or all of them.
It's a lot of typing, guys. It's a lot, like even stuff that's happened in my house. That's like when my daughter was younger, because she's 11 now, and at 11 they don't hear, see, or feel as much.
They're not as innocent to notice those things.
So she was about 7.
Mm-hmm.
We had some stuff. They're not as close to the veil.
Yeah.
People's opinions and telling them like that what they're seeing is not real, it's just their imagination. That really kind of, I've never done that with Cordelia, but she's decided that, you know, it's probably nothing when she has her experiences. So just the other night I was going to bed and it felt like there was somebody right next to my bed. So super creeped out, pulled the blankets real high and just kind of turned my back. Yeah.
When in doubt, sage it out.
I actually got to do a thing at Cordelia's school with the grade 7-8s a couple years ago, where I got to talk to them about ghost hunting and some of the places that I've been and with the grade 7-8 class, and it was a lot of fun. And yeah, they wanted me to come back the next year, but then they switched teachers or whatever, so I couldn't go back. But yeah, it's.
Oh.
I always thought there'd be like a stigma to telling people that you go ghost hunting. Doesn't really seem to be. So
No, it's definitely getting a lot more normal now.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, more mainstream. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we would love to have you back at some other point too, if you want. If you would honor us with your presence
Sounds
again.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, it was really great meeting you, Tanya.
Like
It
I
really
said,
was.
you guys come by sometime. I'll have. Yeah, it's nice meeting you too, Olivia.
All right. I think that is it for today.
So I'll have you guys over. I'll bring my partner in crime and have.
Okay.
Sounds like
perfect.
a grand time. I'm
Perfect.
excited.
Okay, I think that is today. That is it for this week. And we want to thank all of you for constantly listening to us and supporting us. And again, a very big thank you for the beautiful, stunning Tanya for honoring us with
Her presence.
her presence. And congratulations again for winning our contest. And to be clear again, I did not rig it.
Thanks, guys.
All right. See you guys next
You
week.
say that.
Yeah.
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 Bye.
Okay.
Bye, guys. Special thanks to Dylan Sears for the theme song and Sally Gunter for the cover art. Support us on Patreon and like, share, rate, and subscribe to us on all of our social media pages and your podcast streaming service. Do you have any personal stories or suggestions for the show? Email us at bloodgutsandbooze@gmail.com.